Welcome back to Speak English Corner, a calm space where we slow down, breathe a little deeper, and learn about life and language, one gentle story at a time. Today's episode is a quiet reminder that you don't have to be perfect to keep going. Because sometimes perfection doesn't help us grow. It stops us from even beginning. This episode is called Progress, Not Perfection. Learn to love the process. It's about freeing yourself from the heavy pressure of being flawless and learning to find peace in the journey of becoming. Perfection is a trap. Progress is freedom. There's a moment many of us know too well. You sit down to start something, maybe a new project, a dream, or a small goal. You open your notebook or your laptop. You take a breath. But before you even begin, a quiet voice whispers, "It's not ready yet. It's not good enough. You're not ready enough." So you wait. You rewrite. You erase. You plan. You keep polishing what hasn't even started, and slowly, without realizing, you stop moving. We live in a world that tells us to aim for perfection. Everywhere we look, on screens, in stories, even in ourselves, we see the highlight reels of other people's lives. Everything looks smooth, beautiful, and complete. So we start believing that we have to be perfect before we can be proud. That mistakes mean we're not enough. That progress only matters if it looks effortless. But here's the truth. Perfection is an illusion. It's a moving target that keeps shifting the closer you get. And chasing it only leads to exhaustion, because perfection doesn't exist in real life. Progress does. Progress is the quiet courage to show up even when it's messy. It's writing the first imperfect sentence. It's taking one step when you're scared. It's saying, "I don't know yet, but I'm learning." Progress is the proof that you're alive, still growing, still trying, still becoming. And when you learn to love the process, you stop needing everything to be perfect. You start to see beauty in the unfinished and in the sketches, in the stumbles, in the moments you thought were mistakes, but were actually part of your becoming. Maybe you're at a point in your life right now where things don't look as polished as you hoped. Maybe you've started and stopped too many times. Maybe you feel stuck between where you are and where you think you should be. If that's you, please know you're not failing. You're learning. You're growing in the quiet way that progress always happens. Slowly, softly, and unseen. So instead of asking, "Why am I not perfect yet?" ask, "How far have I come since I began?" Because that question, that gentle shift, changes everything. This episode is an invitation to release the need to be flawless and to fall in love with being in progress. Because perfection might look impressive, but progress feels alive, and in the end, it's not about doing it all right. It's about continuing, kindly, one imperfect step at a time. Have you ever wondered, why do we want everything to be perfect? Why we rewrite the same sentence over and over? Why we hesitate to share our work? Or why we delay our dreams until the right time comes? It's not because we don't care. It's because we care too much. We want things to matter. We want to do them justice. We want to prove to the world and to ourselves that we're enough. But somewhere along the way, we start confusing doing our best with being flawless. You see, perfection often begins as love. We love something so deeply, a dream, a goal, a vision, that we want it to be beautiful. We want it to represent us at our very best. But when love mixes with fear, fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of not belonging, that love becomes pressure. And that pressure becomes the cage of perfection. Perfection says, don't start until it's ready. Don't show up until you're sure. Don't share until it's perfect. But the truth is, it never feels ready. It never feels perfect. And so, we wait. We wait for courage, but courage only comes after we begin. We wait for confidence, but confidence only grows through progress. We wait for certainty, but certainty never arrives. Only movement does. And while we wait, life keeps moving quietly without us. Perfection convinces us that stillness is safety, but stillness is where dreams fade away. Sometimes, perfection hides behind pride and that quiet voice that says, I'll do it when I can do it right. But beneath that pride is fear. The fear of being seen unfinished, of being misunderstood, of failing publicly. But here's the truth no one tells us. Everyone is unfinished. Every masterpiece began as a mess. Every strong person you admire once felt small, uncertain, and lost. The difference isn't that they were perfect. It's that they kept going. We chase perfection because we think it will protect us from pain. We think that if we do everything right, we'll never be rejected, never fail, never feel shame again. But perfection doesn't protect you. It isolates you. It builds a wall between you and your own humanity, and between who you are and who you think you're supposed to be. There's a quiet kind of relief that comes when you finally let go of that chase. When you stop trying to be flawless and start trying to be real. When you let your voice tremble but still speak. When you make a mistake and keep learning. When you allow yourself to show up imperfectly again and again. That's when you begin to breathe again. Because the truth is, people don't connect with your perfection. They connect with your honesty, your softness, your humanness. Perfection impresses, but authenticity inspires. So the next time that voice whispers, wait until you're ready, gently remind it, I don't need to be perfect to begin. I just need to be present. Because perfection will keep you waiting for life to begin, but progress will walk you through it. One imperfect, beautiful step at a time. There's something deeply beautiful about things that take time. A sunrise doesn't burst into light all at once. It unfolds slowly, as if the world is learning to breathe again. A tree doesn't grow overnight. It stretches quietly, root by root, season by season. Even a wound doesn't heal in a single day. It mends gently as the body learns to trust itself again. We live in a world that worships results, quick fixes, instant success, flawless outcomes. But the truth is, everything real, everything lasting, grows slowly. I once met a man who had been learning to play the guitar for years. He told me that for the first 12 months, his fingers hurt so badly that he wanted to quit every week. His chords buzzed, his rhythm broke, and the songs he loved sounded nothing like the ones he played. But he kept going, slowly, quietly. 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes some days. Not perfectly, but consistently. Years later, when he played again, his sound was still not perfect, but it was honest. It carried warmth, a kind of truth that only comes from patience and persistence. He said something that stayed with me. I used to want to sound like others. Now I just want to sound like myself. That's the beauty of progress. It doesn't always make you better than others. It makes you more you. Perfection wants the finished product. Progress loves the process. Perfection says, I'll be happy when... Progress says, I'm grateful while... The difference sounds small, but it changes everything. Because the truth is, you are not meant to arrive perfect. You are meant to become. And becoming is not a straight road. It's a quiet unfolding. Think about how a flower grows. It doesn't bloom all at once, and it doesn't apologize for being a bud. It simply opens, one petal at a time, trusting the sunlight, trusting the rain. No one rushes it. No one looks at a half-open rose and says, it's not beautiful yet. Because it is beautiful, not for being complete, but for being in the middle of becoming. And maybe that's how we should see ourselves too. We're all unfinished works of art, midway through our own unfolding. Every mistake, every lesson, every step we take, they're all brush strokes on the canvas of who we're becoming. There's a quiet strength in those who keep going without knowing exactly where they'll end up, like the writer, who rewrites the same chapter again and again, trusting that someday the story will make sense, or the student who speaks broken English every day, making small mistakes with courage, learning, growing, until one day their words flow effortlessly, not because they became perfect, but because they never stopped speaking. Progress isn't about polishing every sentence. It's about giving yourself permission to keep writing. And maybe that's the real art of life, to stay curious, to stay open, to keep learning even when you don't have the answers. Because the truth is, you'll never be done. There will always be something more to learn, somewhere new to grow. Some part of yourself still unfolding. But that's not a problem. That's the point. Life is not about crossing a finish line. It's about walking the path, seeing, feeling, stumbling, and rising again. If you could look at yourself from the eyes of your future self, you'd see it clearly. Every small effort mattered. Every imperfect day counted. Every try, every pause, every restart, they all shaped you into who you are becoming. You're not behind. You're not late. You're just in progress. And progress, by its very nature, is beautiful. So today, instead of asking, am I there yet? Maybe ask, what am I learning right now? Instead of saying, it's not perfect, try whispering, it's enough for today. Because the real beauty isn't in being flawless, and it's in being alive, still growing, still trying, still becoming. The truth is, focusing on progress doesn't come naturally to most of us. We live in a world that celebrates results, not efforts. We're trained to measure success in numbers, speed, and visible milestones. But progress is rarely visible at first. It hides quietly in your daily choices, in the way you keep showing up, in the way you stay kind to yourself when no one is watching. To learn how to focus on progress, you don't need a plan full of pressure. You just need a few gentle shifts, a softer way of seeing yourself and your journey. 1. Redefine what success means to you. So often, the reason we feel stuck is because we're using someone else's definition of success. We see others moving faster, doing more, achieving higher, and we think that's what we're supposed to chase. But success isn't a universal formula, it's a personal feeling. Ask yourself, what does progress feel like for me? Maybe it's not about finishing everything on your list. Maybe it's about showing up with calm instead of stress. Maybe it's not about achieving a goal perfectly, but doing it with joy, with presence, with peace. When you redefine success, you stop measuring yourself by perfection and start noticing growth in places you once ignored. Because sometimes, success is simply being gentler than yesterday. 2. Start small and stay consistent. We often think change needs to be big to matter. But the truth is, big changes are built from small, steady steps. You don't need to move fast. You just need to keep moving. Do one tiny thing each day that aligns with who you want to become. Write one sentence. Take one mindful walk. Spend 5 minutes reflecting. Smile at yourself in the mirror. That's progress. You may not feel it immediately, but over time, those small moments stack quietly, like drops of water that carve through stone. Progress doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. 3. Practice presence. Over perfection, most of our anxiety comes from living ahead of ourselves. We focus too much on how far we still have to go and forget how far we've already come. Presence brings you back home. It reminds you that this moment, the one you're in right now, is part of the process, not outside of it. When you work, focus on the act of doing, not finishing. When you learn, enjoy the curiosity, not the outcome. When you rest, allow yourself to truly rest, without guilt. Perfection wants control. Progress wants connection. So connect with your work, your time, your breath, your life. That's where real growth happens. 4. Celebrate small wins. We often wait until the end to celebrate. But if you only celebrate when you've arrived, you'll spend most of your life feeling unfinished. So celebrate the middle. Celebrate the trying. Celebrate the effort, not just the achievement. Write down one thing each day that you did well, even if it's something simple like, I got out of bed even when I didn't want to. I spoke up, even if my voice trembled. I took time to rest. Gratitude turns progress into peace. It helps you see that every step forward, no matter how small, is already enough. 5. Be kind when you fall behind. There will be days when you lose rhythm. Days when you forget, when you fail, when you fall. But those days aren't proof that you're not growing. They're proof that you're human. Don't punish yourself for being imperfect. Progress doesn't mean never falling. It means choosing to rise with gentleness. If you can be kind to yourself in your weakest moment, you're already further along than you think, because grace, not pressure, is what keeps you moving. 6. Trust the slow work growth takes time. Real transformation is never rushed. It's built quietly, in the unseen places of your life. So trust your slow work. Even when you can't see the change yet, something within you is shifting, like roots growing deeper before the flower blooms. Let time do its quiet magic. Progress is patient, and so should you be. Focusing on progress isn't about doing more. It's about noticing more, noticing your effort, your courage, your resilience, because you're not here to be perfect. You're here to grow. And growth isn't a straight line. It's a dance between falling and rising, learning and unlearning, starting over again and again. That's what makes it beautiful. There's a quiet truth I hope you never forget. You don't have to do more to be worthy. You don't have to be perfect to be proud of yourself. You don't even have to arrive anywhere to know that you're already on your way, because the truth is, you're already becoming. Even now, even here, even if you can't see it yet. Becoming doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like stillness, like pausing to breathe, like resting when your heart feels heavy, like giving yourself permission to not have all the answers. Growth isn't only in the movement forward. It's also in the moments of quiet reflection, when you choose gentleness instead of guilt, when you choose to listen to your heart instead of the noise. You are not behind. You're just in the middle of your unfolding, and that's a beautiful place to be. You've probably been harder on yourself than anyone else ever could be. You see every flaw, every unfinished dream, every mistake. You hold yourself to impossible standards and forget that you're human, that you're still learning, still trying, still doing your best. But maybe today is a good day to look at yourself with softer eyes. To remember that the same compassion you give to others is something you also deserve. Because becoming isn't about fixing yourself. It's about coming home to yourself. It's about realizing that who you are right now is already enough. Not because you've reached perfection, but because you're alive, growing, and real. Think about how nature grows. A seed doesn't wake up one day and say, I must be a tree right now. It simply does what it knows. It stretches toward the light, it takes in the rain, and it trusts time. No part of the process is wasted. Not the waiting, not the rain, not even the storms, because all of it, every stage, every season, is part of becoming, and so it is with you. Every mistake, every try, every restart, they're all part of your growth, part of your becoming. Sometimes we think becoming means getting somewhere, that one day we'll finally arrive, calm, confident, healed, and complete. But life doesn't work like that. There's no finish line to being human. There's just this beautiful, imperfect journey of learning, unlearning, and beginning again. You don't need to rush toward a version of yourself that doesn't even exist yet. Because right now you're living the version that's learning how to love, how to let go, how to believe again, and that's something to be proud of. Maybe no one else sees it. Maybe your progress isn't loud or visible, but the way you keep trying, that matters. The way you choose kindness over bitterness, that matters. The way you keep showing up for yourself, even on quiet days when no one's clapping, that matters too, because you matter. Your small efforts, your slow days, your half-finished dreams, they're not signs of failure. They're proof that you're still here, still moving, still becoming. One day you'll look back and realize that everything you thought was holding you back was actually helping you grow. The pauses taught you patience. The heartbreaks taught you empathy. The uncertainty taught you faith. And all along, life wasn't asking you to be perfect. It was asking you to stay open, to keep becoming. So if you feel lost right now, if you're doubting your pace or your purpose, let this be your reminder. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're simply in the middle of the masterpiece. And every small act of trying, every breath of hope, every choice to keep going is part of your becoming. You are already enough. Not because you've arrived, but because you're becoming. And the beautiful thing about becoming is that it never really ends. You just keep unfolding layer by layer, growing softer, wiser, and more real with every single step. So take a deep breath and trust this moment, because right here, right now, you're already becoming the person you were always meant to be. When you let go of perfection, you don't lose your standards. You gain your peace. You stop trying to control every outcome and start learning how to breathe again. You stop chasing an impossible image and start living inside your own story. That's what progress really is. Not the endless race toward a flawless life, but the quiet freedom of walking your path with openness, patience, and grace. For so long, we've been told that freedom means doing whatever we want, becoming whoever we want, achieving everything we dream. But real freedom feels different. It's softer. It's quieter. It's not loud or flashy, and it's peaceful. Freedom is waking up one morning and realizing you no longer need to prove anything. Freedom is being proud of yourself even when no one's watching. Freedom is making mistakes and no longer calling them failures, but lessons, growth, movement. Freedom is knowing that you are allowed to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. Perfection traps you in fear. Fear of being seen, fear of failing, fear of not measuring up. But progress sets you free, because progress is not about control. It's about connection. It's the act of showing up with honesty instead of armor. It's allowing yourself to try again without needing to know how it will end. It's living, truly living in the beautiful middle, where things are still unfolding. But your heart is no longer afraid of the mess. Maybe freedom isn't found at the finish line after all. Maybe it lives in the small, unseen moments, when you forgive yourself, when you keep going, when you choose peace over pressure. Freedom looks like choosing rest without guilt. It looks like starting small and being proud of yourself for it. It looks like failing gently and knowing that you can still try again tomorrow, because when you stop chasing perfection, you start living. Progress teaches you to find beauty in movement, to find strength in softness, to find joy in the ordinary rhythm of becoming. It teaches you that you don't need to rush, because what's meant for you doesn't disappear when you move slowly. Progress whispers, "Keep going, even if it's not perfect." And every time you listen, you reclaim a little more of your freedom. So today, as you stand here and exactly where you are, not ahead, not behind, take a deep breath and remind yourself, you are not here to be perfect. You are here to be present. You are here to grow, to change, to live, to love. And in every small act of trying, in every gentle step forward, you are already free, because freedom isn't found in perfection. It's found in progress. So keep walking. Keep learning. Keep beginning again. Because each day you move, no matter how slow, you are proving to life and to yourself that you are still becoming, still trying, still beautifully alive, and that, my friend, is what true freedom feels like.